Jodorowsky had gone and talked to Doug Trumbull, and he was more than qualified, obviously. But Jodorowsky was looking for something else, because Jodorowsky is a completely original human being. And when I met with him, we just hit it off like we'd known each other our whole lives. And he ended up hiring me to do the special effects on this production of Dune. And he took me over to France, to Paris, and introduced me to some artists that he was using. And one of them was this amazing man named Jean Giraud. At that time, his stuff was not published in America. He was, France and Belgium and other places. I didn't know about his work until I went over there and saw his work. And I was completely enthralled. And I hadn't even watched him work yet. All I had done was seen some paintings and drawings by Giraud, and they were absolutely astonishing. But they weren't nearly as astonishing as when I went and watched Giraud actually work. Alexandro rented a big office space in Paris, and he put all of us in one big room, and he set everybody up with the equipment he wanted. Giraud wanted a certain drawing board and certain equipment, and Chris Foss, who was a science fiction artist from London, he wanted a different kind of thing. He wanted an airbrush setup. So he sets everybody up with the equipment that he wants, and he has them working in the same room. And then he started them work to design the movie. The result of having the artists in the same room was they competed with each other. They knew, they were looking at each other, what they were doing, and their artwork kept getting better and better. And after a few weeks, and of course the artwork as it was created, we would hang it on the wall. We had a long piece of wall space for it. After a few weeks, it was like being in an art museum dedicated to fantastic art. It was just extraordinary. Giger came on the project late. As a matter of fact, I only met him a couple of weeks before the thing fell through. But Alexandro had just seen Giger's work in I think it's the Pompidou. And he came back saying, there's this fantastic artist. He's fantastic. His name is Giger. He's fantastic. You've got to see what he's done. So he takes me over to Giger's hotel room, and I met him. And his personality and the way he dresses and displays himself is very dramatic, because Giger dresses all in black. And in those days, his hair was black too. So he's sort of like Dracula. But he has a very mild manner, Giger does, because he's a very friendly person. And he had some of his art books there in the room, and I picked them up and I started looking at, this was my first encounter with Giger's work, was in the book that accompanied the Pompidou showing. And I began to look through these, and I'd never seen anything like this in my entire life. Charlotte Rampling was going to be the mother, right? And Salvador Dali had agreed to play the Emperor of the Universe. And I don't think he had yet cast the lead, the young guy, yet. He was having a hard time finding he was someone he was satisfied with. David Carradine had agreed to play Keenus, the planetary ecologist. Those are the only ones I remember off the top of my head. I did spend one afternoon in a hotel room with Jodorowsky and David Carradine, and a very strange conversation, and at the end of which Carradine agreed to play Keenus. Well, many names were just mentioned and went. He had got Pink Floyd to do the score. I met them one evening. Half a dozen very tall men with long hair came around where we were working, and he talked to them. They said, this is Pink Floyd, and they're going to do the music. And I said, great. But he, when you say that names were mentioned, I mean, half the actors in the world were mentioned. I was just remembering the ones that stuck in my head. The only people that are ever hard to convince are money people. That's the hard part, get somebody to put up the money. It's not that hard to get people to be in a movie. You should pay their salary. Sorry. That's about the way it is. It was a real movie, it was happening, and so he could have got just about anybody he wanted. Alejandro was my guru. From the moment I met him, I knew that he was his own greatest creation. I had seen his films before meeting him, El Topo and stuff, but it did not prepare me at all. I was simply expecting to meet an avant-garde filmmaker, and I met an advanced human. He's the only person in my life that I've ever told that I would do anything he said. And I'll never say it to anyone else again either. And I'm glad I did, and I was right to do so. He very much is a shaman. A shaman is someone who takes you into the spiritual world, cuts you up into little pieces, glues you back together, and brings you back into this world better than you were. That's what a shaman does. And that's what Alejandro did for me. And if they hadn't pulled the plug on his money, he would have done even more. I occasionally see he pops up in the press somewhere, and he still looks great, still sounds great. I'm still glad that he's out there. Hello, Alejandro. And hello, Jean. Jean, you know how good I think you are. I've told you to your own face. Well, I'm telling the world now, Jean, you're really, really, really good. Giger was the one I was in contact with after that, simply because we met Alien. See, that's the way it is in movies. Your friends are whoever you're working with on a movie now. In the course of a movie, one strikes up lifelong friendships that end as soon as the picture is ended. It's just the way of the business. It's heartbreaking, but it happens.